Okay, thank you so much. So, welcome everybody to this session. I will speak today about hunting and stopping threats with Elastic Security. So, let me introduce a bit if you don't know what Elastic is doing. So, Elastic is building what we call the Elastic stack. And the stack is made of several projects like Elasticsearch, which is the core of the stack, where you send a JSON document and you can search for those JSON documents, whatever the volume is. It can be terabytes of data, petabytes of data, whatever. It scales out and etc. etc. On top of that, we have a UI named Kibana, and Kibana is super helpful to explore, visualize your data, and also build some application that can run within Kibana. And then the last layer is the integration part, where we are able to collect a lot of data, for example, logs, metrics, what is happening on the netport card, and things along those lines, including also security elements with what we call the Elastic agents. So with those agents, we are able to collect a lot of data, and we are able to use those data for several use cases. Everything can run on our cloud. Everything can run on premise if you want to install everything by yourself, or you can have a mix of those things. What is important during this session, everything I'm going to show you is available within the free and basic license that we have by default with the Elastic Stack platform. At some point, I will show you one or two features which are only available with the commercial license, but I will tell you explicitly that this feature is available under a commercial license. So consider that everything that I'm going to show you today is available with the free version. So on top of the stack, we are using actually the stack to provide different kind of solutions. And one of the solutions is Elastic Security. Of course, we have other solutions. One is Enterprise Search, which is more dedicated to the search use case, which is the heart of the Elasticsearch and why Elasticsearch was built initially. But also observability. So logs, metrics, I mentioned that already. So everything, and APM also, everything goes under the observability solution. But now we are going to focus today on security. So let's have a look at what we have. So let me show you. So imagine that we are a security analyst, and our IT team has deployed Elastic agents, the one I mentioned before, on all our network. It includes also end user machines, but also our firewalls, our applications, our servers, and everything. So we have agents everywhere. Our analyst logs in and start to investigate for open alerts. So this is what you see here when you connect to the security solution within the Kibana platform. Here I'm connecting in Kibana. And what I can see that we have several alerts here. So one of them is this potentially malicious hostname has been queried. All those alerts are coming from the events that we are collecting. I mentioned that we are collected events using the agents that we have, and those events can come from everywhere. For example, here you have AWS S3 access, you have in green events coming from the firewall, the Google Cloud Platform firewall that we have. Other information is coming from the what we call the endpoint agent. I will show you that in a moment. So all those events, we are parsing all those events to try to find if there is something malicious in what we are seeing. And this is the case here. We can see this thing happening. There is like a trend. Periodically, we can see that malicious host apparently is queried. So we can go to the view alerts here and see in details what is happening. So if we look at this alert, for example, we can see here the list. We can see here the potential malicious hostname alert coming every, I don't know, 10 minutes, 30 minutes or so. Yeah, 30 minutes or so. What we can do here is to try to have more details about each alert. So to do that, you can go to the grid view here and use the event rendered view. That will give you more details about what is happening. And what we can see here is that for this event, for example, this user on this machine try to connect to this hostname cdnverify.net using this rundll32.exe command. So why this is considered as an alert? It's considered as an alert because here we define a rule. If I click on this one, we can see what is the definition of this rule. So this rule is one of the rules that we created manually for this demo. Elastic comes with more than 500 rules out of the box. And all are developed in the open, which means that you can see them on the GitHub repository and you can contribute also to those alerts, to those, rules, sorry. All those rules are classified using the standard MITRE convention. And here I can show you what exactly how we build this rule. If I go to edit rule settings, I can see that we are trying to get data from different data sources. So I mentioned that we are collecting logs, so it can come from logs. We are also collecting data with Packetbit. So Packetbit is like Wireshark running on your network card, and we try to understand where the packets are going and where the packets are coming from. And WingLoadBit also for Windows events. So then we are running a query here, which is, okay, look within the field name dns.question.name or tls.server.subject and try to find within a specific index named items default here for the keyword field and try to see if it matches or not. So if I look at actually what it means, let me open the DevTools. So here I'm going to show you exactly what we have. So let me query this this index that I mentioned. Oops, close that. So we can go to the what's the name of the index already? I don't remember. The item defaults, item default underscore search. And here you can see that I have only two events in this index. So this is coming probably from this CSV file. So imagine that we have a CSV file which contains all the bad domains that we are aware of. And we have put within this index the domains that we are aware of using Filebit, for example, or another solution. Maybe we just upload from Kibana itself. And here the keyword field contains cdnverify.net and withyourface.com. So here the reason we raise this alert is because we are hitting on this on this value. So let me close that again. Here in the rule settings, you can, when you define your own rule, you can define the schedule for it. For example, this rule is running every minute. But when you create the rule initially, what you want to probably do is to look back in time and try to see if in the latest 2 hours before we created the rule, maybe there are some alerts that we can be aware of. So that's a good thing to do here. So this is how we define our rule. And now let's go back to the alerts. So here, and the alerts again. So we can see that this alert has been raised, and we don't know why yet, but this rule has a high severity. So this is the severity that we set, and we need to dive deeper to find out what happened actually. So the analyst has a different option to start to get more details. One of the options, for example, is to add and investigate this alert in the timeline. We are going to see that in a moment. But you have other options, like, for example, you can add a rule exception. Let's say that you just created this rule, and this is starting to raise false alarms. So what you want to do is probably to exclude, for example, this host, because this host can query, for example, this domain. Here, we don't want to do that. We want to analyze the event. So let's call analyze event here. So what you are seeing in this view is that the event that we are looking at has been run from run DLL32 here. And if we look at the network calls, for example, we can see that this domain, cdnverify.net, has been called. If we click here, we can understand that so this alert is coming from a given IP address here. I should have looked at another one. Anyway, so it's here. I'm looking for the IP address, but okay, I can't see it here. Anyway, so we can see that this run DLL32 is calling the network, but now we have other information. We can actually see that this run DLL32 is called from this executable. So I'm going to copy this value because I will need that later. What we can see also here, if we go back, we can see that this call for this exe file is coming from Excel. And actually, this is coming from this Excel document, upcoming events February 2018. Here, we can see that. But also, this call from Excel is actually coming from Outlook. So here, we can see this is coming from this email. So we have the suspicion that actually probably someone is doing nasty from Excel. So our user downloaded an email, then open an attachment which called Excel, and this Excel generates a lot of things. So let's have a look if we can investigate a bit more on that. So what we can do, if we go to the alert again, we can search for the file that we saw previously. Remember that we have a full text search here, so it's super easy to search across the logs and all the events that we have. So here we search within the alerts, and let me activate again the event rendered view. And if we look at the very first event that happened with this exe file, so we can see that actually this exe file has been created with this certutil.exe using this txt file, with this text file, and using the decode option to produce the exe file that we are seeing. So what happened? Probably in this txt file that Excel generated somewhere, we have the base64 encoded version of the exe file that we want to generate. So what we can see here is that we are pretty sure that we have someone who is doing something malicious. And so we need to do something from now. So let's have a look at in details on the event. So here we can see this execution in details. And because we want to stop now what is happening, we should take an action. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to isolate the host. So what is happening behind the scene when I'm going to isolate the host? So let me put a comment here. Stop attack from Excel. And so here we have been able to isolate the host. So what is happening? So if I look at what we call the endpoints here, I can see that I have this endpoint available. So the endpoint is basically the machine for the end user. And if I look at this one and look at the logs, I have basically stopped the activity on this machine. How this is done? The agent, the endpoint security agent, has been deployed on this machine. And when I'm isolating the host, what is happening? No connection at all can happen with this machine. So from this machine and to this machine, no connection but Kibana itself. So Kibana is still able to communicate with this machine, so we can still investigate, but at least we are stopping the propagation of the problem. So now we are safe and we have stopped the propagation of the problem. We can open a case with what we have seen. So let's do that. Let's go back to the alerts. And with the suspicious file here, we can here create a new case. So let's do that. And say, so let's call that suspicious malware or whatever. You can add some tags here. So tags are super helpful when you want to then do over search for threats. And you can say, for example, that this problem is coming with Excel, with Outlook, and this is, I don't know, base 64 encoding or something like that. Then you can add the description. And so I'm going to copy and paste something. So this is using here Markdown. So you can also, make things more obvious. Let's say, I don't know, phishing email. So let's add phishing here. Okay. You can connect to an external system like Jira, for example, or other things. So the external connection is only available in the commercial feature, but here you can also store everything in Elastic itself. So let's create the case. So by creating this case, you are starting to document the problem that you are seeing. If we look at the case now that we have, so this is what we have entered so far. Yes, so now we have our case open. It's time to do some further investigation. So far, we have only seen network events on our endpoint, but we have not confirmed that actually the event were able to pass through the firewall and go outside. So maybe there have been some data exfiltration. So we need to check that to see how bad was this malware. So to do that, we can go again to the alerts here. And we can, for example, activate again the rendered view. And what we can do is to, let me remove this. We can, for example, use this cdnverify.net, and we can add this to a timeline. So let me do that. So this has been added here to the timeline. And if I look now, if I open the timeline, what you can see here is all the events that are related to this timeline. You can do multiple things with that. You can say, for example, that was a DNS action. So you can add this to the timeline. I just want to see all the DNS action with this question name, or also DNS action and the other thing. So basically, you are here creating a lot of entries in the result set. So this is what you are seeing. But this amount of data is not linked one to each other. Instead, what we can do is to try to do some correlation, for example. And we have this tab for this. And the correlation is using a specific language named EQL. Sorry for my English. So EQL is the event query language. It helps to run and to associate different events. Instead of having a list of events we are not linked to each other, with this, we can do the connection between the events. So basically what we are saying, we want to see within a sequence of 5 seconds, if there is one event which runs with the run DLL 32 that we saw before, and the destination IP address. of the CDN verify.net domain. And then if we find another event where network equal true, which means that we have something in the network, then we will consider that there is a correlation between at least two events. And this is the case here. We can see that from our Windows machine, we are trying to open a connection, but we can see with the firewall here that this connection is actually successful and we are able to pass through the firewall. So that's super interesting to see. And what we should do now is to actually document this information and add this to the case. So we are going to save this timeline. So we are going to give it a name. So let's say firewall investigation. Okay, let's add this. And what we can do is to attach this to the case that we opened previously. Okay, this case. And we can now document this again, and we can say more information. We can say, okay, we saw that an email created an exe file which ran on our machine, and we can confirm that data was sent outside our network. So let's add this comment. So with that, we can. It's another analyst is coming later on the Kibana platform. Then he will be able to actually continue the investigation that we are seeing. When you are connecting to an external system, you can actually give all the information that we have here to other people without needing to open accounts into Kibana, into the security platform. So they can do their own business, and you can continue do your own investigation by yourself. We could investigate further on historical data. Sorry, I'm not going to show you this today because it will take a lot of time to run that. But what we can do is to use a feature named searchable snapshots. So imagine that you have 5 years of data, for example, in your system. So I can just show you something like this. Let me open that. So here, if I go to the get /_cat/ indices / frozen blah blah blah. So I have a lot of all indices that you can see here. Let me add the header. So you can see all indices from 2017, 2018, etc. A lot of data is available. And as you can see, here the size on the Elasticsearch machine is 0. What does it mean? It means that we are using the frozen feature of Elastic. And what we can do here is to start searching within those data using here this API. I'm just going to show you a simple thing like a search. Hopefully this will work. So we are just querying here the frozen indices, which are archived. So the cost for us is super low instead of having that live on the Elasticsearch machine. So it's archived on S3, for example, here. And we are able to search for the old data that we have collected previously. Just know that this feature is only available with a Platinum license. So it's not available for free. So I need to mention that. But if you have that within your company, you will save a lot of money because you won't have to restore the historical data on physical machine on Elasticsearch. You can query them. It will take minutes though to query those data because they are not available. They are not available yet, and Elasticsearch has to basically cache some of the files which are available in the archive to be able to run those queries. Okay, so let me close that. Let's go again into the alerts. What is that? Here, alerts. Let me change the timestamp here and go to the rendered view. So that was the latest one. Yes, okay. So we can see here that the very first alert that we had is coming from host file modified here. And if we look at the details, we can see that this user, for whatever reason, renamed a host file, a host file, which to etc host in Windows from the desktop, actually. So basically, he moved the file from the desktop to this directory. What could be interesting would be to find what do we have in the host file today, currently, on this machine. So to do that, we can go to what we call the OS query, which is here, OS query. And with OS query, I can run queries using the OS query syntax, which is like SQL, actually. For example, here, select star from etc host. This is going to work. Why this? Remember that the agent is able to connect with Kibana. So we can still run queries on the host, even though the host has been isolated. So let me show you a previous query that has been run by the team who built this demo. And what we can see here is that the host cdnverified.net has been added to contain this IP address. So why this? Because actually the cdnverified.net has been shut down, and to run the demo, or maybe the person who wants to attack wants to have this domain still available. So he had to hack the host file to make sure that the host file contained the right IP address here. So I mentioned that we have agents which are available everywhere on the host machine. Sorry. So you can see here that the OS Query Manager has been deployed through this policy on the machine. So this policy contains several integration that has been deployed. So the OS Query Manager, which helped us to run the queries that we saw, but also other policies. Like, for example, the Windows one. If you look at the Windows policy, this integration comes with a default dashboard visualization ingest pipeline, and this is providing a feature for logs and metrics using the Windows integration. And this is the field that are generated by the system. If I look, if I go back again here, if I look at the way we deploy this integration, this is where you define the settings that you want to actually deploy. Here we are saying that we want to collect the events from the Windows event log, and also the performance monitoring and the service metrics. But here you just have to click and to make available one integration or the other. Same goes for system here. If we look at this one, we are also collecting logs from system instances, so over logs, over in events from the Windows log, etc., etc. And then the endpoint security. So if we look at this one, so this is the one which is able to protect, actually, so first to collect data about the security threats that you can have, but also to protect the machine itself. So this is where we have all the logic. So here we have checked the malware protection. So this is enable here. And we have activated it with the protection level as detect. Why we did not do the prevent? It's for the purpose of this demo, because otherwise everything would have been blocked automatically, and we won't have seen all those infection and that we saw during the demo. So that's the reason we said only detect here. But you can move to prevent if you wish. So this is available in the free version. The ransomware protection, though, is available within the commercial license. So this one is available in the commercial license. And those new ones, which are coming with the new version, the 7.15, those are also available with the commercial license. So memory threat and malicious behavior. And then those are the other information that we are collecting with this agent. So it's super easy, as you can see, to declare exactly the integration as you want it to be. So that's all what I have for today. I hope you enjoyed this session. And so don't hesitate to contact me on my Twitter account if you have any question. And if you have question here, I will be happy to answer.